Hi, it's Lisa Marcarell from Low Carb Yum. I'm going to be sharing another sweet recipe with you today. This time I've got an easy keto chocolate peanut butter brownie recipe. It's a really easy recipe. You probably already have the ingredients on hand. It's an adaptation of a recipe I shared a few months ago for almond flour brownie bites. And that recipe also featured a couple products from Chalk Zero, and this recipe also has some Chalk Zero products in it, and I just love Chalk Zero chocolate. I don't know if you have access to that where you are, but if you do, I definitely recommend giving them a try. The chocolate is fantastic, and I've been a fan for several years now. So for this recipe, I'm using the Chalk Zero dark chocolate baking chips, and they just came out with a keto-friendly peanut butter baking chip. And if you are a peanut butter lover, especially peanut butter and chocolate, you are really gonna love this recipe, and you're really gonna love these brownies. And if you don't have access to the chocolate chips, I do have recipes on lowcarbyum.com, and I show you how you can make your own homemade dark chocolate baking chips and peanut butter chips. So don't worry about that. So if you guys are ready, let's get started. So first of all, you're going to want to get a medium size mixing bowl. You can use a large bowl as well, and then you're going to get your batter made. But before you do that, you might want to go ahead and prepare your baking pan. For this recipe, I use an 8x8 inch glass baking pan, and I'll either grease that or line it with parchment paper so that the brownies come right out of the pan. My preference is to use parchment paper, but if you don't have that, go ahead and grease the pan. In the mixing bowl, you're going to want to go ahead and add 1 cup of almond flour, and that's the blanched almond flour, 1 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder, a half a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, a half a cup of butter melted, 2 large eggs, 2/3 cup low carb sweetener. I just use any 1-for-1 sugar substitute. If you do like a softer brownie, you can go ahead and use an allulose-based keto-friendly sweetener, or an erythritol-based one works as well. So whatever you have on hand, go ahead. Most sweeteners should work in this recipe, no issue. Then you're going to go ahead and add in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And I do like to add a little xanthan gum just because I find that it gives baked goods a better texture, and it helps keep them from becoming a little crumbly. So I just add a tiny bit, and in this recipe I like to add a 1/4 teaspoon of xanthan gum. And then you're going to go ahead and blend that up with an electric mixer. You can stir it by hand, but I just find an electric mixer is easier. So then once you've got that batter, the brownie batter all made, you're going to want to reserve 1/3 cup of that batter and just set it aside. Then you're going to go ahead and stir in 1/3 cup of the keto-friendly chocolate chips, and then 2/3 cup of peanut butter baking chips. And then you're just going to spread that batter into your prepared pan. And then you're going to take a 1/3 cup of peanut butter. I like to use the creamy peanut butter. Make sure there's no added sugar in your peanut butter. It should just be ground peanuts or ground peanuts and salt. And then you're going to take that reserved 1/3 cup of brownie batter, and you're going to scoop little spoonfuls all over the top. And then what you're going to do, and you're going to take a knife and you're going to swirl those toppings together. You don't want to go overboard because you'll end up mixing it too much, so you want to have a little swirl marks in there of the chocolate and the peanut butter. And then, this is optional, but I really do like to sprinkle on a few extra chocolate chips and peanut butter chips on the top, just because I think it looks a lot prettier to have a few of those on the top of the brownies. And then you're going to bake that at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 20 minutes, more or less, just until they're done to your preference. I do like to slightly underbake these brownies because I find that it makes them a lot moister. They don't get so dry like if you overbake them. So I always bake my brownies a little bit underdone. Even so, the toothpick test, even if you poke it in, it would come back with some of the wetness still on it. But go ahead and bake it to your preference. About 20 minutes is what you're gonna need. And then you're just gonna take that pan, allow it to cool, and then cut them up into squares. And that's really all there is to this easy chocolate peanut butter brownie recipe. I hope you guys give this recipe a try, and I hope you guys really enjoy it. And I'm gonna go ahead and take a bite, because who can sit here and look at these delicious chocolate peanut butter brownies without taking a bite? So delicious. That's it for now, guys. See you guys later. Bye-bye.